When last we left our heroes, that's you and me, we had deselected loopback 0 as the DMZ interface because we're not going to work with a DMZ in this particular lab any further than what we went through in the last video. And we're going to leave this unchecked again too. And I want to see what's going to happen now if we get any kind of message, because now we've got an interface where we're not seeing trusted, untrusted, or DMZ. So is the firewall wizard even going to let us do that? Are we going to have to define the interface as trusted or untrusted? What do you think? Go ahead and guess. It's not going to cost you anything. This isn't the test. Let's go ahead and hit next. We are going to get a warning, a Cisco CP warning. Some of the interfaces are not part of the zone. Traffic cannot flow between non-zone and zone interfaces. Aha, that's a good thing to know. Do you want to continue? In this case, of course, yes, because we'll just take the loop back off once the lab is done anyway. And we are going to get the usual message about not being able to launch Cisco CP from Fast Ethernet 01 because we did not select it to be available from an outside interface. Now, here's a great little tool that's available in the Advanced Firewall Security config. And it says Cisco CP provides pre-configured application security policies. Use the slider to select the security level. And with basic, low was all we had. And remember, low was in all of the names. You know, when we looked at the config, we saw low everywhere. Well, low security, let's go through the descriptions really quick. The descriptions here for low security: the router does not identify application-specific traffic. Returns TCP and UDP traffic on sessions initiated inside the firewall. So there's a concept we've hit a couple of times here. And it even mentions choose this option if you do not need to track use of these applications on the network. And it's got a preview commands button here. Let's go ahead and hit that. I believe that's going to take a sec to launch. Or perhaps even more than a second. There we go. And notice here that we've got class maps and we've got some match statements. We really haven't seen class maps. We talked about them, you know, the class map and the policy map and all that. I have not forgotten that. I am going to show you a config from the command line that shows those and uses those. And we've got one here because notice, you know, we've got a match protocol here and a match protocol here. But a couple of these class maps, I mean, look at this class map. It's got all of these match statements. So we better know the rules for class maps, and we will. So it's going to show you, here's the policy map. And again, I am going to show you these on the board and the command line. It's a lot easier to walk through them there. There's that class default. Love that name. And we've got, you know, traffic not being dropped, and then we've got inspects and all kinds of things. So again, we'll walk through that somewhere else, but you could see why it took so long to generate this. And I mean, took so long, relatively speaking. So we'll go ahead and close that, but you do have the capability to look at all the commands for each one before you apply it to the router. Matter of fact, I believe you'll have another one right before you deliver it. Now let's move the slider up to medium security. It's just click and drag. And notice the router identifies inbound and outbound instant messaging and peer-to-peer traffic, and checks inbound and outbound HTTP traffic and email traffic for protocol compliance. Again, it returns TCP and UDP traffic on sessions initiated inside the firewall. Choose this option if you want to track use of these applications on the network. All makes sense to me. Finally, high security, and pretty much the same thing except for a couple of drops here, you'll notice. The router identifies inbound and outbound instant messaging and peer-to-peer traffic, bam, and drops it. No instant messaging for you, or anyone else if you choose this. The router checks inbound and outbound HTTP traffic and email traffic for protocol compliance and drops non-compliant traffic. Returns traffic for other TCP and UDP applications if the session was initiated inside the firewall. Choose this option if you want to prevent use of these applications on the network. So we will go ahead and choose, we'll choose high for this just for fun. There's a checkbox here. I have PPTP clients in LAN allow traffic like that to come through the firewall, which we're not going to do. And then here's the DNS configuration. Application security requires that domain name lookup is enabled and at least one DNS server IP address is configured on your router for the policy to operate successfully. So just for fun, I'll put 10.1.1.2. We don't have to put a secondary if we want. And here is the firewall configuration summary. And actually what I'll do is copy that. I'm going to copy that, and then we'll put it on the whiteboard here at the end, and I'll enlarge it so we can really examine what's going on there. But there's a lot of stuff being blocked here. It is indeed high security. So if we hit finish, try that again, might not click. There we go. It's going to take a second here. We're blocking a lot of stuff. There we go. And there's the running config. And again, I know this is remarkably small, so actually it'll be this one. Let me go ahead real quick while we're doing that and pause this video for a moment. I'm going to paste that first one, then I'll actually I can just save that one to a file. That's what I could do. 23rd, okay, and we'll save it. That way we've got both. We'll go ahead and check save running config and deliver it. Submitting 272 commands. That's a lot of typing. I don't mind typing. Those of you who've been taking my courses before know I often thank my mother out loud in these courses for forcing me to take typing in high school because I didn't want to do it, and I've been very grateful ever since. So we will just wait for that to deliver. That's a lot of commands. And if it starts taking a while, I'll just pause the video and we'll let it submit. So some good real world stuff here as well. Yeah, let me go ahead and pause that video and I'll let you know about how long. There we go. I knew as soon as I said that it would happen. Configuration delivered to device, and now it's copying the running config to the startup config of your router. And we will wait for that as well. And then we'll take a look, just look around the editing window one more time. And there we go. So we're okay. You have successfully configured a firewall on your router. And now it's going to drop you back to the edit firewall policy, which is going to look different here because now we've got these rules we've applied. And, you know, there's the self zone being mentioned. You know, again, that's a good thing to know. You've got traffic here on each line, you know, any source, any destination. Here's web traffic, and it's being inspected, and something else, and HTTP application inspection. So this window is a little bit different than the editing one because we've got these rules, but again, you have cut, you have copy right here, and you also have edit. So if you have a rule that you want to change, just highlight it, click edit, and it's going to come up in a moment. Here's edit a rule. Notice we're editing rules now. Source and destination, and then your protocol list is here. Again, this is a little beyond the scope of the NA security, but I want to show this to you. Again, it's always going to be a little odd the first time you do it, but anything you want to edit in this window or delete, you've got the capability to do it right here, just like we did with the basic firewall wizard. You can add, you can edit, you can delete, you can move the lines up and down, you can cut, you can copy, and you can paste. So you can do anything you want to, but when you're done, make sure you click Apply Changes, and if nothing happens, that means you didn't change anything. We saw that in a previous video as well. That is about it for the Advanced Firewall Wizard here. We've done a lot of stuff there, and what I'll do at the start of the next video, I'll go ahead and copy those two configs we saw into the next video. We'll also talk about class maps, policy maps there a little bit and get you clear on those, and then we will move on to another topic. So thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next vid.